When it comes to undoing a commit, there's two different approaches. One is an approach that allows you to retain the full history of your repository and add a new revision that undoes some previous changes in a previous commit. And the other approach actually rewrites history altogether, so you remove the commit from the repository and you can never go back to it. It's probably clear that the first method is safer. You retain your full history so you can continue to roll back and move forward as you need to, whereas the second approach is destructive. Practically speaking, you'll only want to do the full reversal of a commit if you absolutely need a clean commit structure. So say, for example, you make a commit and it was a bit wonky and it doesn't quite align with the way that you've been making commits up until that point, it might make sense to roll it back. And that also comes into play when you're working with other people and your strange commits might cause some confusion. Let's go ahead and demonstrate the first way, which is by using the revert command. So if we want to revert our last set of changes from our last commit, we would do git revert head. Now again, remember that head is pointing to the branch that we're currently on. And in cases where we're specifying a particular commit, head points to the latest one. So what this will do is take any changes that were made in our last commit, undo them, and then create a new commit with the changes undone. Now we can add a message to this using the -m parameter, but let's go ahead and do this without that. I'm going to hit enter. What this does is open up a message in Vim for us to modify. At the very top here is an automatically generated commit message. We don't have to modify this if we don't want to, and it simply says revert, and then the message that was made for the commit that we're reverting. And then it adds this line, this reverts commit, and then the unique hash for the commit. Everything below here begins with a hashtag, and if you read this, it says that everything with a hashtag will be ignored. So when we make the commit message, all of these will be removed. But this message does two things for us. First of all, we can remove these hashtags if we want to add this content to our commit message. For example, if you want to specify that certain things were deleted or modified, we don't have to type it all out manually. We can just remove the hashtag. Secondly, it gives us an indicator of what happened in this commit. So if maybe we're making a mistake, this is one last stage we go through in order to validate it. Now, if we have made a mistake, notice that there's a message here that says an empty message aborts the commit. So if we removed all of this and then saved this file, then the commit would be aborted. Just like in previous examples, we can move into insert mode by pressing the I key. You see insert down here. And now we can move our cursor and modify this if we wanted to. This is actually a pretty fine message, so let's save it. I'm going to press escape. I'm going to press colon, which is shift and the semicolon key. And then I'm going to press WQ in order to save and quit. Now we see a fairly normal output for a commit here. It just tells us what we deleted and what we modified. And now if we do git log again, we see that we have a new commit here that says revert added step 1 of input module. So here's our changes, and this is it undone, so this is actually equal to this. Now keep in mind that when we use this command, git revert, we're specifying the specific commit that we're going to be reverting. So when we ran git revert head, what we could have done was say git revert, and then passed it the unique hash for the step that we were going to reverting, which is this one. If we wanted to undo this commit, we could do the same thing and simply pass it this BE8D6ED hash. But what it doesn't do is revert everything in between. So if we said revert this, it would just revert the changes made here. If we wanted to revert back to this, we would need to revert this change, and this change in order to get back to here. Now, if we want to remove actual history and roll back past commits, and remove the commits entirely, then we're going to use a command we've already used before, which is git reset hard, and then the hashtag of the commit we want to reset to. So if we passed this to revert, for example, we would end up at this state right here. But if we pass this to reset, we're resetting to this, and so this will be the state that we end up at. So let's go ahead and reset back. Let's reset back to this and actually undo our revert. So I'm going to copy the hashtag and I'm going to paste it in and I'm going to hit enter. And now if we do git log again, we see that we have completely removed this commit. We just have our 3 and that's it. As we explore these different commands where we can pass a hashtag in, we can actually use a whole set of different selectors. We've used 2. We've used head and we've used a short hashtag. But we can also use more complex selectors, like ones that say, I want to revert the third last commit that was made. And so if you find yourself in a position where you need something more specific or something relative to another commit or a time period or something like that, then I just wanted to let you know that there are those selectors available.